Solomon's wife was dying. She came to me holding the cancer diagnosis report and said triumphantly, "A living person can never compete with a dead one." I directly splashed a cup of hot coffee on her face. "Have you read too many cheesy romance novels? If you're sick, go to the hospital. I can't send you to be reincarnated." Solomon had a first love who had been together with him from high school to college for 7 years. Unfortunately, they didn't end up together in the end. One went abroad, and the other got married in a flash. Unlucky. His first love was me. What's even more annoying was that his wife, who he married in a flash, regarded me as her #1 enemy. I hadn't even met her in person. Yet I had long been labeled as the green tea and white moonlight. I buried myself in my studies and worked hard abroad for 3 years. While she hated me for 3 years by Solomon's side, I had a very bad reputation among my classmates on social media. It was said that in the year I went abroad, Solomon was so depressed and degenerate that he almost lost half his life because of me. There was still a rumor within our circle that I ruthlessly dumped my 7-year first love and married a wealthy foreigner far away. Solomon was so affectionate, and I was so materialistic. So, on the 27th day after I went abroad, even less than a month, Solomon's salvation appeared. The girl's name was Echo, a junior schoolmate from our school. It was said that she had had a crush on Solomon for 3 years. But I had never known about her existence before. It was only when I heard the news of their flash marriage from my best friend Lumina that I completely believed that the words Solomon said to me. "If you choose to go abroad, then we'll break up," were serious. Studying abroad had never been my impromptu decision. My parents had spent a lot of money and effort cultivating me for more than 20 years. How could I break their hearts for a man? I couldn't say it out loud. Nor could I do it to give up my studies for love. Moreover, I never thought that was and studies were contradictory. I was prepared for a 3-year long distance relationship and firmly believed that Solomon and I would embrace a better future after 3 years. But I didn't expect that Solomon would force me to choose between the two. Unfortunately, having fulfilled my parents hadn't raised a love-brain person. I let Solomon down. Let's just say I failed him. So, when I learned that he had married someone else in a flash, I was only a little sad for a while. Then I continued to strive for my future. In the following 3 years, except for Lumina, I almost cut off contact with all my classmates and friends. I was afraid to hear all kinds of things about Solomon from them. For a 7-year relationship, I could pretend to be open-minded. And I could even truly be open-minded, but I could really not care at all. Fortunately, I was best at deceiving myself and others. As long as I didn't touch, didn't pay attention, didn't recall, and didn't miss, I could still lie freely and unrestrained lie. Later, when I secretly returned to the country after finishing my studies, Lumina insisted on gathering a group of our classmates and friends who used to be close to give me a welcome party. I knew that she was angry about the rumors about me that had been circulating in our circle in recent years, and wanted to take this opportunity to slap the rumor mongers in the face. I didn't really care. And I even persuaded Lumina not to care too much. The mouths are on other people. It's their freedom to say whatever they want. Some people like to listen to stories and think those are all true. Then just let them be. Lumina was not convinced. That won't do. Before, when you were abroad, no one believed me no matter how much I spoke up for you. Now that you're back, we have to slap those people in the face. I was a bit helpless. But actually, I also wanted to see who was targeting me so much. When I went to study abroad, they said I married a rich old foreign man for money. When I came back to the country, they said I was abandoned and by the rich old man because I couldn't have children. When I strived for and got a good job opportunity with my own strength, they said I got promoted by using my body. When I posted to selfies on my social media account, they said I couldn't forget Solomon and was trying to attract his attention. I didn't even know that I could be so amazing in everyone's eyes. But actually, the more amazing one was Lumina. Because she invited Solomon as well. They entered the private room one after another. Before Lumina could pull me to greet everyone, Solomon and Echo had already stood behind us. The moment I turned around, Echo immediately took Solomon's arm. I didn't say anything. Lumina sneered twice. rolled her eyes, and asked, "Do I still need to introduce them?" At this moment, there was only one thought in my mind: I shouldn't have come out with Lumina. Solomon, however, was much calmer than me. He spoke first. "Long time no see, Astra." I responded politely. "Long time no see, Solomon." My gaze didn't linger on them for long. I turned around and was about to walk inside. I didn't greet Echo. I didn't know how to start. After all, I didn't really know her. Being too proactive and enthusiastic would seem deliberate. But if I wasn't proactive and enthusiastic, those with ulterior motives could always use it to make up stories. Soon, a sister who was on good terms with Echo stood up, as if she was wearing a halo of justice. She first circled around me and took a look, then made a surprised expression, covered her mouth, and shrieked, "My God! Isn't this Astra?" The light was bad just now, and I thought I was mistaken. I thought I hadn't changed much in these 3 years, and my dressing style was still the same as before. But this sister in front of me really made my brain feel a bit confused. Fortunately, Lumina reminded me, "Vexay. Don't you remember?" I shook my head. Lumina slapped her forehead. "Oh, Alep, it's not your fault you can't recognize her. She went for plastic surgery not long after you went abroad." As she spoke, Lumina even reached out and patted Vexay's chest, surprised. "This is fake too." Vexay's face immediately turned dark, and she violently shook off Lumina's hand. "Move your claws away. You're just jealous of me." Lumina distaphonially curled her lips and even pushed out her flat chest. "Is it great to have plastic surgery? I'm proud of being flat." Vexay seemed to be ready to fight with Lumina. But the next second, she was stopped by Echo. "Vexay, don't make a scene." Vexay seemed to listen to Echo very much and immediately suppressed her emotions. It was also at this time that she shifted her attention back to me. "You don't know each other yet, right?" Vexay introduced. "This is Astra, from our former school. This is Echo, Solomon's wife." Was this considered getting to know each other? I hesitated whether I should reach out to Echo. Fortunately, having fulfilled my desire, Lumina obviously felt my awkwardness. She stepped between me and Echo, still rolling her eyes and not looking at anyone, and said, "What are you doing? Do you have to introduce that she's your Solomon's wife to everyone you meet? Those who don't understand the situation might think she's some first lady. I think she might as well hang a sign around her neck that says Solomon's wife." Vexay's anger was obviously stirred up again. She stuck out her neck as if she wanted to bite Lumina right away. I tugged at Lumina's arm. I didn't really want to get into an argument with them. After all, there were so many pairs of eyes in the private room, all wide open to watch the fun. Lumina quickly understood what I meant and pulled me inside. "Come with me. Let's sit over there. They say that rumors end with the wise." Obviously, everyone present didn't seem very smart. Were they really not intelligent? Not exactly. Most of them were just eager to gossip and watch the fun. If you were not doing well, they would step on you. If you were doing well, they would still step on you by spreading rumors. So, when the voices slandering me spread within our circle, they seemed to have found some kind of resonance. And then they adapted, exaggerated, and spread it again. Naturally, no one would care about what the truth was anymore. It wasn't Lumina's fault that she couldn't argue against a group of people, no matter how close our relationship was. At that time, could she be closer to me than Solomon, who had been in a relationship with me for 7 years? At the beginning of the spread of the rumors, if Solomon had just stood up and told the truth, there wouldn't have been so many things later. But what was Solomon doing at that time? He was maintaining his affectionate persona. He was screening his backup candidates. He was half-throatedly throwing himself into the next relationship. I didn't know how Solomon and Echo got together so quickly. Less than a month after I left, Lumina did mention it to me a couple of times. And I just listened. It was said that Solomon was drunk, and Echo sent him home. And they ended up in the same bed. Then they got married in a flash. After all, Lumina wasn't hiding under their bed. Who knew if it was forced or voluntary? 3 years had passed, and my heart had long been hard and wouldn't be affected by these old things. Solomon, He was just someone who accompanied me through a period of my school days. It wasn't a vigorous relationship. And there was nothing I couldn't let go of. It was just that I had let it go. But some people hadn't. During those years in college when Solomon and I were together most freely, it was also the most tormenting time for Echo's secret love. So she hated me. But in the end, she got what she wanted, didn't she? She couldn't be considered as having interfered in our relationship. She had properly achieved her wish of being with her secret love god. Why did she still hate me? Soon, without a low sigh, a lot of people gathered around Lumina and me, chatting and catching up with each other. Most of them were indirectly trying to find out about my current situation to confirm whether I was really as bad as the rumors said. I smiled and responded to them one by one, with a positive attitude and calmly. Someone exclaimed without feeling embarrassed. "Oh. We all thought you and Solomon would end up together. What a pity." "Yeah. In college. You two were such a great couple. I don't know how many of us were envious of you." More people chimed in with this topic. Someone else said, "It's not just in college. Astra and I were in the same high school but different classes. They were already very famous back then. Okay? It's said that your high school head teacher turned a blind eye to your relationship? Who can blame them? They were both top students. They were in a relationship. And their academic performance was impeccable." These people were stirring up the situation. And my long-buried memories were almost dragged out again. The smile I had been trying to maintain froze on my face for a moment. In front of me were faces that were eager to watch the fun and didn't care about the consequences. Which made me extremely disgusted. Lumina couldn't sit still anymore. She coughed twice, stood up, and raised her voice, saying, "What are you talking about? What's the point of bringing all this up? Solomon has been married for 3 years. He has nothing to do with our Astra anymore." Lumina was indeed my mouthpiece. She was right. Not to mention that Solomon was already married. Even if he got divorced at this moment, I wouldn't even look at him twice. The past should stay in the past forever. I was the kind of person who didn't care about so-called old feelings the most. Perhaps our commotion was too loud, and inevitably, head infosibly, it attracted the attention of some people. Vexay, who hadn't gotten much advantage from Lumina, couldn't hold back any longer. I saw her break free from Echo's hand, walk straight towards us, look at everyone present with contempt, and then fix her gaze on me. "Lumina is right. Our Solomon has been married for 3 years already. What's the point of talking about all that messy stuff? Besides, Astra is married too, isn't she? I wonder if your foreign husband came back with you. You should have brought him out to let everyone meet him." Lumina made a move as if she was going to stand up for me again. But this time I held her back. I looked straight at Vexay and asked, "I'm married? Did you send me the marriage certificate?" "You?" Vexay was at a loss for words. "Weren't you in a hurry to go abroad back and just to marry that rich old man overseas?" "Oh." I stared at her with great interest. "You seem to know so much about my situation. What kind of rich old man is he? How old is considered an old man? Have you seen him?" I haven't seen him. But everyone knows about this. What's there for you not to admit? You even used studying abroad as a cover. It's really laughable." She said everyone knew. So I swept my gaze over the crowd and asked, "All of you know?" But most people didn't respond. They all pretended to be deaf and mute and lowered their heads to fiddle with their phones. I was a bit disappointed and continued to argue with Vexay. "Look. They don't seem to know as much as you do. How about you tell us more? What else do you know? Push to the limit." Vexay wasn't afraid to fall out with me, and simply started to act aggressively. "What are you pretending for? Your dirty deeds have already spread in our circle. Do you think you're still that amazing beautiful top student from back then? A person who can sell their body for benefits at any time. We don't want to get to know you at all. Solomon was so good to you back then. You didn't know how to cherish it. Instead, you turned around and went after a rich person. Now that you've been abandoned and slunk back, you're trying to flirt with Solomon again. You just care that Solomon has been successful in his career these years and has a fatter wallet, right? I'm telling you. There's no way you can have your eyes on our Solomon. And don't try to use tricks to ruin the relationship between him and his wife. Solomon and Echo have a really good relationship. I calmly listened as Bexay spouted one thing after another. I don't know why. But her words didn't stir up any emotional waves in me at all. Perhaps it's because I really have no feelings for Solomon anymore. I slowly sat back down, smoothed my forehead hair, and said calmly, "None of you have seen my so-called husband, and none of you know what happened to me during the 3 years I was abroad, yet you all seem to have witnessed my life as if you were there. What? Don't tell me it was your Solomon who told you all this?" My attitude became serious, and the people who had been looking down at their phones buried their heads even deeper. They found their respective seats and wished they could turn into invisible people. After the crowd dispersed in front of me, I finally saw Solomon again. Although the private room was large, the sound of our conversation just now was loud enough for Solomon to hear everything. Even if he didn't want to listen, the person beside him was paying great attention to me. So I looked at Solomon and repeated the question. "Am I right? Solomon? Was it you who told everyone that I went abroad to get married?" Solomon adjusted his glasses. I was really curious about what he would say. Of course, I believe that these rumors may not have spread from Solomon's mouth. I was just annoyed by his attitude of pretending that it had nothing to do with him. After all, we had been in a relationship as boyfriend and girlfriend for 7 years. When I was slandered like that, he didn't even say a word. I noticed that Echo's hand tugged at Solomon's sleeve, and then she casually moved behind Solomon as if nothing had happened. Solomon covered his lips and coughed twice, pretending lie, saying, "It's all just some silly rumors and jokes. Don't take it seriously. The innocent will remain innocent. The innocent will remain innocent." Do I need him, Solomon, to teach me that? It would have been better if he hadn't said that at all. If he had been honest and said a few words for me, his ex-girlfriend, I might have thought more highly of him. At least he would have been somewhat of a man. No. I just wished I could send a silk banner to Echo, thanking her for getting Solomon back then and saving me from those unnecessary delusions later. Probably afraid that I would give Solomon a hard time again. Echo's body suddenly didn't feel well. It just so happened to give Solomon a chance to get away. He was about to leave with Echo, and Bexay also wanted to slip away. Lumina grabbed her. "What are you pulling me for?" Bexay shrieked. Lumina gave her a disdainful look. "Can't I even pull your arm? Is this also fake?" Bexay rubbed her arm and didn't say anything. At the same time, I called Solomon to stop. I looked up and down at Echo, who was leaning in his arms. "It's not too serious, is it? If you can still hold on, just wait a bit. It won't delay you for too long." I was so straightforward that it was obvious I didn't plan to give them any face. If they still insisted on leaving, it would be somewhat inappropriate. So, Solomon helped Echo sit down in a seat by the side, and I turned my attention to Bexay. I said to her slowly, "Bexay, having fulfilled what I'd say, whether the rumors you spread were heard from somewhere else or you made them up out of malice and spread them, I will definitely find out. Our circle is just so big. Everyone knows what kind of person everyone else is." Lumina immediately chimed in and said, "Except for her. It's his wife, Solomon. How hard can it be to find out? Since most of the people are here today, and those I used to be close with are almost all of you here. I don't mind waiting for you all to slowly recall who you heard those rumors from." Lumina was very cooperative and immediately asked the waiter to bring in several large boxes of wine. She smiled and put the wine bottles in front of everyone. "It's okay. Think slowly. If you really can't remember, just chug 2 bottles. Alcohol can stimulate the brain, and it will surely bring back some real memories." Lumina's trick really worked. My uncompromising insistence on getting to the bottom of things also made these smart people see the situation clearly. If I was really as chaotic as the rumors said, why would I be entangled with them here seriously? Soon someone started to recall under the influence of alcohol. I heard it from Agatha. "Agatha, Bexay told me about it. She described it vividly. And I also thought it was true." Cecily said it in the group. "Cecily, if Echo hadn't told me, I wouldn't have believed it either. Echo was Solomon's legitimate wife. It's not surprising that she knows some juicy gossip about me. His ex-girlfriend, right? and Vexe is Echo's best friend. What she knows must be what Echo knows. And it seems quite believable, right? After pushing the matter around, it ended up, without any surprise, being pushed onto Vexe and Echo. As for which one of them was the instigator, I didn't care at all. When I left with Lumina, my back was straight. Lumina couldn't stop smiling. She even very generously paid for the drinks for them. As for what would happen in that private room next, it had nothing to do with us. On the way home, Lumina kept scolding Solomon, he's really not a good person. I looked down on him. I was still calm. Why mention him? There's no rule that an ex-boyfriend has to speak up for his ex-girlfriend. Right? Theft. Lumina said angrily. He must have been jealous of your success back then. So he threatened you with a breakup and didn't want you to go abroad. He didn't succeed in threatening me. Did he? In the end, I still chose to embrace my bright future. I closed my eyes and leaned against the passenger seat, not really wanting to recall what happened back then. Before graduating from university, Solomon had already made his career plan. He even gave up better job opportunities just to earn quick money in the short term to help his family. It was said that his mother gave birth to a third child, a younger brother for him, when she was almost 50. And then she fell ill and couldn't get out of bed ever since. From my perspective, his choice was of course stupid. But thinking from his perspective, with such a family, he seemed to have no other choice. However, I, and my parents, have never looked down on him because of his family. I had also carefully planned him into my future. But he couldn't wait any longer. I guess. I couldn't share the pressure of life with him as he expected. I couldn't just find a job and settle for an ordinary life right after graduation. I couldn't even empathize with his family, let alone use my parents' hard work to help his family out of poverty. I loved Solomon. But I admit that I only loved him as a person, not everything behind him. So, our breakup was understandable. It was just a matter of time. Because of all this, although I was sad when he got together with Echo quickly, I really didn't blame him. I didn't blame him then. And I won't blame him now or in the future. See, I'm really a heartless person. So heartless that I scare myself. After that gathering, I never saw Solomon again, let alone had any private contact with him. I had already deleted all his contact information 3 years ago. If you're not ruthless, hadn't felt by and sigh. You can't have a stable heart. I've always been reluctant to do things in a half-hearted way. To live up to my 7-figure annual salary, I started to devote myself wholeheartedly to my work. Staying up late and working overtime was inevitable. I just occasionally received some strange phone calls in the middle of the night. Sometimes when I answered, there was no sound at all on the other end. I thought it was very strange. So when Lumina personally came to bring me supper, I mentioned it to her. While setting out the loving bento she made for me with her own hands, Lumina checked the call records on my phone. I was eating while watching her fingers keep clicking on the phone. It's a local number. It's not easy to check the real name information. Lumina mumbled to herself. Then, after searching for something else, she suddenly had an epiphany. Oh my goodness. This sneaky move really makes me laugh. I was very confused. So I urged Lumina to explain it to me. Lumina leaned against my office chair, spun around 360 degrees, and said with a laugh, "Honey, I'm afraid you're being investigated as a mistress." I was speechless. But the first person that came to my mind was Echo. Lumina continued, "I'm telling you. It seems that there's been some problem between Solomon and Echo since that day. I didn't care about the conflicts between their husband and wife. Anyway, having fulfilled my obsession, Solomon often uses the excuse of going on business trips or having social engagements not to go home. Even if he does go home, it's already the middle of the night. Can his wife not be worried?" I calmly said. "Oh." Seeing my indifference, Lumina got anxious. "Don't you understand yet?" I shook my head. Lumina stamped her foot. In short, she might be calling Solomon on one phone. After getting through, she would then use another phone to call you at the same time to figure out if there's a possibility that you're with Solomon. This time, I really understood. So what? I just thought such behavior was both childish and exasperating. How insecure must Echo be? Or how much does she look down on me? To think that I would rekindle my old relationship with Solomon? I had no intention of paying attention to this matter. Anyway, I wouldn't answer any unfamiliar calls. I really didn't want to have anything to do with this couple. However, just as Lumina and I were about to go home together, we ran into someone we shouldn't have met in the underground parking lot. That's when I found out that Solomon had also joined my company. It's just that we were in different departments, held different positions, and worked on different floors. Without any accidents, it was almost impossible for us to meet. But we just happened to run into each other in the parking lot by such a coincidence. Lumina, who had been chatting and laughing with me all the way, suddenly fell silent the moment she saw Solomon head on. I was fine. Those gentle and soft eyes of his could no longer stir up the slightest ripple in my heart. We didn't even greet each other and just walked in opposite directions like strangers. At that moment, I had an impolite thought. I suddenly felt that Solomon's eyes would inexplicably look affectionate even when he looked at a pig. Close to midnight, Solomon's car and mine left the parking lot one after another. At that time, Echo was standing at the intersection. Lumina had sharp eyes and saw her at once. Oh my God. Lumina helplessly put her hand on her forehead, feeling sorry for me. This is bad. Someone will start imagining things again. I pursed my lips. I really couldn't control the way things were developing. I couldn't possibly resign just to avoid suspicion. Could I? Or stop working overtime? That was an annual salary in the 7 figures. I couldn't do that. After that, I never ran into Solomon in the parking lot again. However, Lumina started insisting on bringing me late-night snacks and picking me up after work. While I was dealing with my work, she would lie semi-reclined on the folding sofa and play with her phone. She would sigh from time to time. Sometimes when I was free, I couldn't help but feel a bit gossipy. Lumina was especially enthusiastic about chatting with me. Honey, it's not that I deliberately want to bring up the person you don't want to talk about. It's just that they always make a big fuss every time and make it known to everyone. I chewed on the heart-shaped fried egg in my mouth, not sure what kind of expression I should put on. Lumina licked her lips and continued. Solomon is going to divorce Echo. Cough. I choked on the fried egg. Lumina quickly handed me a glass of water and patted my back to help me catch my breath. Is it really that serious? Her mouth still didn't stop. It said that Solomon is determined and not to live with her anymore. I held the water glass. Took 2 sips slowly after I recovered. However, I don't think it's that easy. Echo will never be willing to get a divorce even if she has to die. I frowned and didn't want to listen anymore. It was really boring. Seeing that I was unhappy, Lumina shut up and comforted me. Okay. Let's not talk about them. Your birthday is coming up in a few days. Have you decided where to have fun? She reminded me. But I just came back to the country this year. And I'm afraid I can't go anywhere to have fun. After all, the family rules are strict. So on my birthday, Lumina and I were both locked up at home by my mom. We each held a big bowl of longevity noodles and slurped away. The bowl was as big as a wash basin, and the portion was so large that it really took a long time to finish slurping. While my mom was still busy in the kitchen, Lumina complained pitifully. It's not even my birthday. Why is Auntie torturing me along with you? Woo woo woo. I felt sorry for her. But there was nothing I could do. After all, my mom hadn't made longevity noodles for anyone in 3 years. When she got the chance, she had to show off to her heart's content. As for the cake and dinner, we were really helpless. We each lay on the sofa with our bellies full of noodles. Next to us, my dad and mom were happily enjoying the sumptuous dinner that was originally prepared for me. My dad, this stewed pork knuckle is really flavorful. My wife is the best. My mom, you should eat less of that greasy stuff. Just to satisfy your craving. This dish is light. Eat more of this. My dad, okay. I'll listen to my wife. I couldn't stand listening anymore. Lumina and I looked at each other. Is it not enough that we were stuffed with noodles? Now we have to be fed dog food too? After the meal, I was excitedly unwrapping the birthday gifts from my parents and Lumina. Suddenly, Lumina let out a scream on the sofa. I quickly put down the things in my hand and went over to see her. She held her phone screen in front of me. On the screen was someone's newly posted WeChat moments. With 2 birthday cake emoji IS and no accompanying text. Seeing that I didn't react for a long time, Lumina jumped up. Don't you understand? I shook my head. It's Solomon. This is Solomon's WeChat moments. Oh. You just say. Oh again. Lumina was annoyed. Don't you have anything to say? What should I say? I still felt exasperated. Am I supposed to run after him and say, "Hey Solomon, could you please stop posting random things on WeChat moments in the future? It has a bad influence." I'm not even friends with him on WeChat. What can he influence me with? No matter what he's trying to do in a cryptic way, it won't have any impact on me. The only people he can influence are those who care about and pay attention to him. Such as Echo. What a scumbag. Lumina cursed. Once he posted such a moments with an obvious meaning. Won't Echo be so angry that she'll want to kill you? I comforted Lumina. There's nothing to worry about. Maybe he's just trying to make Echo angry on purpose? Lumina realized something and exclaimed. Brilliant. Is he really using you as an excuse, and just giving up on everything in order to divorce Echo? I didn't care. As long as it didn't play out in front of me, I didn't bother to pay attention. But Lumina wasn't satisfied. She muttered angrily. What's this scumbag thinking? He knows that Echo is suspicious all day long. If he really uses you as an excuse and makes you get involved for no reason. What if Echo goes crazy and causes trouble for you? You just said he's a scumbag. No matter what he's thinking. You can't expect him to think of me. Can you? That's true. When my mom brought us the cut fruits, she happened to hear Lumina and me talking about Solomon. She suddenly interjected. He's already married. You should have less contact with him. I was speechless and asked in confusion. Am I really your biological daughter? Don't you know my personality? My mom said seriously. This is a kind reminder. As she spoke, my mom sat down next to us and continued. That boy has been through a lot. The year you went abroad, his mom had an accident. It was quite serious. Anyway, hadn't fulfilled my assertion. She didn't make it. His mom passed away the year I went abroad. I looked at Lumina, and Lumina gave me an innocent look in return. It seemed that neither I nor Lumina knew about this. My mom sighed. No wonder he was in such a hurry to get married back then. What a pity. Was she feeling sorry that he couldn't become her son-in-law in the end? To be honest, my parents really thought highly of Solomon back then. Liked him a lot. And hoped that Solomon and I could have a happy future. If I had asked them to let me take Solomon with me to study abroad, they might have gritted their teeth and agreed. They just wanted me to be happy. As long as I felt happy. Even if they had to sell the house and support both Solomon and me. They might not have refused. But I couldn't bear to do that. I knew how hard my parents had worked to start their business when they were young. And I knew how difficult it was for our family, which wasn't extremely wealthy, to live in such a big city. I didn't have that much excessive compassion. I could strive together with Solomon and create a future together. But I didn't have the right to ask my parents to support my boyfriend. I didn't tell my parents many things in detail. Let them think of it as a regret from my youth. It's time to turn the page. The spring festival was approaching. And my work became busy again. For the sake of promotion and to double my annual salary again. I could even sacrifice my life for the company. However, just when I was so busy that I could hardly keep my feet on the ground, someone forced me to slack off. I made an appointment with Echo at the coffee shop downstairs of the company. She took the initiative to contact me. I only have at most 15 minutes. I looked at my watch and told her directly. Compared to how she looked a few months ago, Echo seemed to have lost a lot of weight. I didn't know the purpose of her coming to see me. And I didn't speculate too much. Anyway, it couldn't be anything other than related to Solomon. Echo sat opposite me and stared at me longingly for a long time. I was getting impatient with her staring. Since she refused to explain her purpose for a long time, I stood up and was about to leave. Sorry. I'm really busy. Astra. Echo finally stopped me. I gritted my teeth and sat back down. I silently said to myself in my heart, Give her one more chance. Your face really makes me hate it. Echo said. I shrugged. Such an attack meant nothing to me. I had already been made invulnerable by them. There's nothing I can do about it. It's from my parents. I never expected you to see it back then. Echo sniffled, with a bit of sadness in her voice, and said, There's always been a photo of you in Solomon's wallet. Even after we got married. No matter how much I cried and made a fuss, he wouldn't part with it. Do you think I should hate you? I patiently listened to her continue to cry and complain. Since you chose to go abroad back then, why did you come back? As soon as you came back, he wanted to divorce me. He said he couldn't forget you and even admitted that he wanted to win you back. Astra. Why? Why do I have to admit defeat as long as you're around? But it doesn't matter. This time I won't lose to you again. I watched as Echo calmed down her emotions. And then she quietly took out a hospital examination report and placed it in front of me. It was a cancer diagnosis report. I'm going to die. Are you happy? I opened my eyes wide in disbelief. She was really sick. I didn't mean the cancer. I meant her brain. But it's a pity. Have you ever heard the saying that a living person can never compete with a dead one? So, even if I die, you won't be able to be with Solomon with a clear conscience. I'll make him feel guilty towards me for the rest of his life. And I'll make him miss me with this guilt for the rest of his life. Is this going to go on forever? I really couldn't stand listening anymore. I picked up the coffee in front of me and splashed it directly on her face. The coffee was hot, but not scalding hot, so it wouldn't hurt her face. I just wanted to make her sober up and stop imagining herself as the female lead in a miserable love story. She wanted to be the female lead, but I didn't want to play the role of the evil supporting female character. Do I really have nothing better to do than compete with her for a scumbag every day? I'm really curious when exactly your brain started to go wrong. I said. Echo sat there blankly, heading full sorry, not wiping the coffee off her face. She let the coffee drip from her cheeks to her neck and stain her clothes. Did it start from the year you had a crush on Solomon? A few years before you met Solomon. We were already together. You had a crush on someone who already had a girlfriend and had been in a stable relationship for several years. So, what exactly are you feeling wronged about? Compared to most people, you're actually lucky. You had a one-sided love for 3 years. And in the end, whether it was by coincidence or through some means, you successfully got what you wanted. What more could you possibly be dissatisfied with? For these 3 years, I voluntarily acted like an ex who might as well be dead, and I cut off all contact with Solomon completely. But you've been regarding me as your imaginary enemy, slandering and hating me for 3 whole years. Don't you think that's ridiculous? I picked up the diagnosis from on the table and stuffed it back into Echo's arms. Sweetheart, if you're ill, go to the hospital. I can neither give you priority to be reincarnated nor solve your emotional problems here. There might be some irreconcilable conflicts between you and Solomon, but the source of those conflicts definitely isn't me. I don't know how much effort you put in to get what you wanted, but now that you have it, you should cherish it. I looked at my watch again. Sorry. I really don't have the time to waste my breath with you here. Wasting this precious time means sacrificing my precious salary. I feel so sorry for that. Because of Echo, I didn't have a pleasant time doing my work in the afternoon. I was hesitant about whether to contact Solomon and tell him about Echo's situation. She not only needs physical treatment now but may also require some psychological support. However, after hesitating for a long time, I still couldn't send the add friend request. In the end, I had no choice but to ask Lumina for help. Let her be this kind carrier pigeon. After several important meetings and decisions made by the company's senior management, there's no doubt that my position will be reconfirmed after the Chinese New Year. In short time getting a promotion. The senior management unanimously agreed that my workability is sufficient to match a higher position. Of course, a double salary is a must. Later, I heard that Solomon took a long leave of absence. Echo was hospitalized. I asked my assistant to send a flower basket there in Lumina's name. After that, I heard some news from Lumina. Fortunately, Echo's cancer was detected early and it can be treated. But Solomon will probably have to spend most of the money he's saved in recent years. Lumina sighed for a while. And then she leaned beside me mysteriously. There's another thing. Do you want to know about it? I helplessly sorted out the documents in my hand. Even if I said, I don't want to know, Lumina would still be unable to hold it in and tell me. You know Vexay, right? She had a crush on Solomon even earlier than Echo. Me? I really didn't know that. Back in your high school days. Lumina was a bit confused. Anyway, heading full self-mind session. The year you went abroad. She went for plastic surgery and made full preparations to confess to Solomon. But unexpectedly, Echo got there first and even got the marriage certificate. Vexay was so angry. If it were me, I'd really be so frustrated. I stopped what I was doing and thought carefully. So, I bet Vexay was so angry and frustrated that she started spreading rumors about me everywhere. Who knows what's going on? And she somehow became Echo's best friend. My goodness. If one day she gets the chance to sleep with Solomon, wouldn't that be another cheesy and melodramatic plot? At this point, I couldn't help but become serious. Yes, heading fulfill session. I'm going to clear Solomon's name. Do you think it's that easy to sleep with Solomon? Lumina pouted. Wasn't that exactly the method Echo used? During our college days. How many times did we go out drinking together? Have you ever seen Solomon drunk? Lumina couldn't help but open her mouth wide, and she couldn't even cover it. You can't be serious? Why not? Astra. My dear. Are you saying? Back then, Solomon voluntarily had that kind of relationship with Echo? I wasn't hiding under their bed. So how would I know? But this should be the guess closest to the truth. So I think there must be some feelings between him and Echo. But it has nothing to do with me anymore. What I'm more worried about now is how can I deal with the blind dates arranged by my parents during the spring festival? The end of the full text.